The controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have you been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first I'm hearing of this.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you.
Well, the two stars are Gal Gadot,
Before you.
who she was in the Israeli Defense Forces. She's Israeli. And then Rachel Zegler plays Snow White. I think Gal plays the... I was not a child, so I don't follow. I don't know fairy tales. I never read comic books.
We're diving into a surprising controversy shaking up Hollywood, the growing backlash surrounding Disney's upcoming Snow White remake. What was meant to be a modern reimagining of a beloved classic has sparked a heated cultural debate. In a bold move, Disney chose to completely remove the iconic seven dwarfs from the story, aiming to move away from what it saw as outdated and offensive portrayals. However, this decision has drawn sharp criticism, especially from many actors with dwarfism who argue that this change is actually a major step backward, rather than progress. They say it erases valuable roles and opportunities in an industry where visibility and fair casting are already incredibly scarce. Comedian and political commentator Bill Maher weighed in, accusing Disney of falling into what he called performative wokeness, a pattern where companies make surface-level changes to appear progressive, while potentially causing more harm than good. Maher argued that by trying not to offend, Disney may be ignoring the real-life impact on the very community it claims to support. This situation raises a critical question. Is Disney truly pushing for inclusion? Or are they unintentionally sidelining the people they aim to uplift? Are we witnessing genuine progress? Or a misguided effort that prioritizes optics over outcomes? There's much more to unpack. Hit that subscribe button and join the conversation as we explore what this means for representation, responsibility, and the future of storytelling in Hollywood.
Like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution. So the two stars hate each other. And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive. You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarfs want to work. And honest,
golden employment opportunity for dwarves.
there's not that many scripts that come down the pike
No, it's 7 of them.
that has, and there's seven dwarf jobs here, but because I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right. This is demeaning, and they were like, what? We just want to work. We're dwarves. So, ho, ho, ho.
Let's break this down. What started as a simple fairy tale reboot has now turned Disney's Snow White remake into the latest flashpoint in Hollywood's ongoing culture war. Disney's attempt to modernize a classic story has snowballed into a wider debate over overcorrection, representation, and missed opportunities. So, what's the controversy in a move to avoid outdated stereotypes? Disney chose to eliminate the seven dwarfs entirely from the film. On the surface, this may seem like a progressive update, but the issue gets more complicated. For many actors with dwarfism, those characters represented rare, meaningful roles in the major studio production roles that don't come along often in Hollywood. Instead of reimagining the characters in a respectful, inclusive way, Disney opted to erase them altogether. Critics argue that this wasn't progress, but a shortcut that ignored the people it was supposed to help. Rather than collaborating with the dwarfism community to update the narrative, the studio made the decision behind closed doors, losing a chance for real inclusion. Even comedian and political commentator Bill Maher chimed in, accusing Disney of prioritizing performative virtue over practical solutions. This isn't progress, he said. It's moral theater dressed up as politics. And when avoiding offense becomes more important than thoughtful storytelling, the results can feel tone deaf or even harmful. The heart of the matter is this exclusion in the name of inclusion doesn't serve anyone. True representation means involving the communities in question, not editing them out of their own stories. So the question remains, was Disney playing it safe, or simply being careless? And in today's media landscape, who really gets to define what representation should look like?
He's saying now, should they aim to be angry moderates?
I think it would be good, not for all Democrats to shed the label of Democrats, but I think more people should run as independents in more places. Dan Osborne in Nebraska, that was a great race. And it makes sense. And I mean, one of the ways that we've destroyed party competition in this country is that in a bunch of states, they either find the right so repugnant, I think at the moment for me understandably, or the left so repugnant, there actually is no competition. So having people run as independents and be able to make an argument outside of the party label, it makes sense. It would be good if I would like to see, I think a lot of political donors are functionally counterproductive. I think creating the infrastructure for independent competition in states that are otherwise one-party controlled.
All right, let's shift from fairy tales to another kind of fantasy fixing America's political system. Today's topic: ranked choice voting and independent candidates. And here's what's interesting: two political thinkers who rarely see eye to eye, Andrew Sullivan and Ezra Klein, actually agree on this one. That alone should make us stop and take notice. What's driving their agreement? Exhaustion with the polarization, with the endless outrage, and with the name-calling. One side screams fascist, the other yells communist, while most Americans are just trying to afford a doctor's visit and buy groceries without taking out a loan. So, what's the solution? Political reform. Let's start with independent candidates. The idea is simple: more people running outside the traditional red versus blue system. Why? Because an area is dominated by one party. The general election is often a foregone conclusion. Independent candidates can shake things up, forcing politicians to appeal to a broader base, not just their loyalists. Then there's ranked choice voting, a system already making waves. Instead of choosing just one candidate, voters rank them in order of preference. If your top choice doesn't win, your vote transfers to your next pick. It's like saying, not my favorite, but definitely better than the worst. Sullivan argues that this method discourages extremism and pushes candidates to build coalitions rather than pander to the loudest voices. Even New York City Mayor Eric Adams was elected through ranked choice voting, not an extremist, and far from perfect, but a sign of how the system can work. In the end, ranked choice voting and independent runs won't magically fix everything. But they could make elections more competitive, less toxic, and more reflective of what everyday people actually want from their leaders.
You give them a little priority, and as the candidates fall out, when they then contribute their vote to the next one, so you get a consensus candidate.
Is that a
And
jungle?
that's how we got Eric Adams in New York, and it's
well,
Yeah.
can't blame no ranked choice voting.
Is that a jungle primary? Is that what they call it? Jungle?
No, jungle primary is different. California's jungle primary, right?
What does that mean?
Jungle primary, I think, is that you have a bunch of people running, and the top two vote getters, no matter what party they are, then have a runoff. So that's how you get a general election in California. We have two Democrats running against each other. Ranked choice is that the general election, you can have a lot of different candidates going, or in a primary, you can have a lot of different candidates, and you're ranking through them. So if you have people who are consensus, like if everybody has the same second choice, but people are split between like three more extreme first choices,
right,
you might get that second consensus candidate as the winner. For the Eric Adams joke, ranked choice voting is a good idea. We should do it.